Suwa Rei and Kurusu Kazuki are assassins for hire. They're on a job to kill a fake jeweler when their babysitter calls with bad news of their daughter being sick. Several months earlier, both men have to work Christmas Eve to take out a human trafficker. Kazuki stops by Kyutaro's place to drop off some information and pick up their pay. He's enticed into gambling until he's left without a shirt on his back. On the other hand, Unasaka Miri, aged 4, arrives at the target's mansion by herself and begins to wander it. Kazuki poses as Santa Claus at the same mansion, pretending like he was to deliver a cake to the target's wife. He stopped by the elevator, but with Kyu's help, they believe Kazuki's story and let him through. Miri beholds the cake with Kazuki and runs into the elevator. Her joy amuses Kazuki. She thinks he's the real Santa and reminds him that she'd like to see her papa. Miri raises suspicion and Rei has to kill off the threats to the mission. As chaos bursts out, Miri is still looking for her father. The target takes Miri hostage, making Kazuki claim that he's her father. Rei uses the distraction and puts 3 bullets into the target before escaping. Kazuki brings Miri home only to discover that she's the target's illegitimate child. Kazuki tries to find anything about Miri's mother or where she came from, but Miri is of no help. Both men visit Kyu for a new job, and while there, they ask about the target's daughter. Kyu promises to look into it. Kazuki and Rei review the new job. They have a hard time finding a subtle say into the target's mansion. After Miri makes Kazuki play hide and seek, an epiphany hits him, and so they embark on the mission. Miri forces her way until she's allowed to tag along. Kazuki poses as an anti-theft specialist and Rei readies the weaponry. Kazuki is still setting up smoke bombs when Miri rings the target's doorbell. She needs to use the facilities. She sees Kazuki and causes a ruckus. A shootout immediately follows, but Miri smiles the whole time. Rei saves them yet again, and all 3 escape. Kyu delivers the location of Miri's mother. It's Rei and Kazuki's last day with Miri as they set out to find her mother. They get to her location, and Kazuki leaves Miri in Rei's care. He meets Unasaka Mizaki as she's singing. Her man harasses her in front of Kazuki, and Kazuki fights him off. She later explains how much she hates having a kid and how it's made her life miserable. Kazuki tries to convince her otherwise, but it's fruitless, and he leaves in disgust. Rei had lost Miri, but finally finds her with some cops and retrieves her. All 3 head home together. Kazuki and Rei get tired of cleaning up after Miri and decide to put her in daycare. The requirements are tedious, but Kazuki forges documents to match. Miri's big mouth almost messes up their chances, but they find a good daycare that accepts her. They show up at the daycare looking very stylish, unknown to Kazuki that it would cause Miri to not have any friends. He then shops for cheaper clothes, and thus helps Miri play to her heart's content with the other kids. They're low on cash. Kazuki and Rei are left to beg Kyu for any job at all. Kyu reluctantly drops a list of small jobs to be completed by week's end, only for Miri's school to shut down for the week due to a virus scare. Kazuki can't get enough work done and seeks out Kyu for advice. Unknown to him, Miri follows him out. Rei wakes up to an empty house and calls Kazuki in a panic. They search everywhere for Miri and finally find her sat opposite to their boss, Kyu. Contrary to their beliefs, Kyu offers to look after Miri so they can focus on his jobs. They hurry back to meet their Kyu had known everything the whole time. He sits them down and advises them about the risks of keeping Miri. Kazuki is scared of Miri going bad and flips out when he's told she's got into a fight at school. Miri gets angry and doesn't talk to him. She leaves for her school trip to the zoo but forgets her lunch. Kazuki goes overboard trying to get it back to her. Turns out, Miri has a knack of getting missing because back in the zoo, she and 3 of her friends get separated from the class. She stands up to a guy planning to steal food and he threatens her. All this while Kazuki and Rei are watching in secret. They run into him again and he tries to force the kids to hand over their lunches. He even pulls a gun. Kazuki and Rei dress up like mascots and beat him to a pulp before leaving. Miri comes home, happy as a clown, and hugs Kazuki like nothing ever happened. Miri and Rei don't help around the house and it makes Kazuki really angry. The next day he takes off very early, leaving Miri in the care of an incapable Rei. He has a hard time getting Miri ready for school and drives her under the rain to the daycare center. They get there and there's no school for the day. Kazuki, on the other hand, goes out to gamble. He later gets roughed up by some rascals, and Karen, his dead wife's sister, meets him sided amongst the garbage. Back at home, Miri takes ill, and Rei realizes how helpless he really is. Kazuki still thinks he killed his wife. He visits Yuzuko's grave, and Karen meets him there with shoulders slumped. They talk about Yuzuko's life, and Karen encourages Kazuki, filling him with hope. He then goes home to meet Rei and Miri asleep together. Rei's father calls him home to inform him that it's time to take over the organization. Mr. Suwa hands Rei a case to test his commitment, with instruction to complete the job before day's end. The target is Rei's former teacher, who's trying to escape. He's less surprised to see Rei instead of his girlfriend. Knowing his fate, a shootout ensues between both men. Rei hesitates to shoot him, but as destiny would have it, he falls to his death. Rei sends Ogino, his driver, away, before falling into sadness. Kazuki doesn't let him, as he shows up and scoops him home. Rei finally smiles when he sees the birthday surprise Miri had planned for him. Mr. Suwa reaches out to Q for information on Miri. Miri's daycare is having a field day, and she's very excited about it. Even Rei chips in his weird way by safeguarding a front spot in the sidelines. Miri partakes in different games before lunchtime, where Kazuki takes the chance to display his prepared feast. After lunch, she races her mates. She's distracted when Rei shouts in support for the first time ever. She stumbles and falls, putting her in last place instead. She's sad, but finally wins the gold medal in the parent-child games. Kazuki and Rei meet Unasaka Misaki, Miri's mother, at the gate of the daycare. She's changed her mind and wants Miri back. It infuriates Kazuki, but Miri was super excited to see Misaki. Both men later find out that she's sick with cancer, with no idea on how long she had. They tell Kyo about it, and to the surprise, he's the one who called up Misaki in the first place. He complains about how sloppy their jobs have become since they took in Miri, and they agree to give her back. They take Miri out for a proper day out and share a moment on the top of the Ferris wheel. By nightfall, they have to reluctantly hand her over to her mother. The house is too quiet without Miri. Rei and Kazuki sit gloomy all day. Later, Rei returns to his father willingly, but the man still promises Rei that he'll purge all his ties to Miri. Rei panics knowing what his father means. It's too late for Misaki, who gets shot in the stomach by Ogino. Kazuki bursts in and tries to fight Ogino. He gets beaten and shot in the shoulder. The sound of police sirens send Ogino running away, and Misaki is left to bleed to death in Kazuki's arm. They transport a sleeping Miri to a safe location. Kazuki plans to make it look like Miri died and hide her somewhere far away, but Rei challenges him. They settle on one last mission before leaving the assassination business to be fathers to Miri. It's been a year since Miri came into Kazuki and Rei's lives. It's also the day of Miri's Christmas recital. She makes both men pinky promise to be there no matter what. Kazuki and Rei set out to attack the organization's headquarters. They burst in guns blazing, shooting down whoever proved a hindrance. They come face to face with Ogino again. He deals Kazuki some real damage before he and Rei get into a gunfight. He shoots Kazuki in the leg, and Rei tackles him out of the way. Kazuki returns to plunge a big knife into Ogino's back. Rei then headbutts Ogino, and he falls on the knife to his demise. Rei leaves to face his father, who goes for his gun immediately. Rei says he's leaving the organization. Rei is faster and shoots his father's shoulder first. He then shoots his own hand so he can never be an assassin again. His father has no choice but to let him go. Kazuki and Rei show up for Miri's recital all covered with bruises and injuries, but she doesn't know that. Her smile when she sees them makes it all worth it. 10 years pass and Miri's in high school. Kazuki and Rei open up their own restaurant, and they live happily just as they planned. Kazuki is especially happy that Miri doesn't turn out bad. Thanks for tuning in to our anime recap. We hope you enjoyed our take on the latest episodes. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more recaps every week. See you in the next one.